welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I am excited to get started again today. And just as the opening was running, my mind shifted, and I may change some plans I had today. But we're going to get into it. And sincerely, to all of you who dropped in already, and those of you who will find your way, whether it's live or later, sincerely, I appreciate it. I really do. This life we're living, and Hank, admittedly, your your comments and what transpired yesterday has me on the edge of my seat. I want to drop the link already and jump in, but I've been learning how to just breathe and take it slow. Part of my mindset today is the realization that what I do here, when I go live, I've been saying it's for you, it's not for me. But in some of the past streams, I've been using the time together to try and deal with things that are directly related to me. And I've been losing sight of you. So for those of you who have been a part of this Talcottian adventure with me, God bless you, man. I truly do. We're going to figure this out. There's greater things happening with me, with this life. Today, brothers and sisters, Monday miracles. When you embrace, when you embrace God's mission for your life, miracles happen. Now, all of these words, kind of building on some of the things from the past few days, all of these words, each day we get to define everything. So do you think about miracles? Do you have a definition for those? Do you believe in miracles? Something I've learned for my own life is the key to embracing God's mission for your life, the key to embracing the idea that your life has a mission, your life has a purpose, starts with acceptance. Acceptance of the life you are living. It is the first step towards embracing the purpose of your mission. And what I found for myself conceptually, mentally, emotionally, physically, trying to do these things in alignment with God's love, it reveals the miracle of each day. And sincerely, may we all flow through today with the divine peace, divine love, divine faith of Christ Jesus. My Lord, my King, he who I choose to serve. I was inspired earlier today by a video, again by Adam Stanley. And I thought about playing some of that. I might. But this morning, I'm filled with ideas again today because I've been listening and learning from other people alive today. One of them is in my opinion, a very great communicator, and he's a Christian pastor. He does a wonderful job of explaining many things. So I was inspired by that earlier. I was inspired by words of Sadhguru talking about some of the political climate of today. And then I was inspired by, the news, the reality of this time of history. if you think back to the World War II, and for those of us, we've learned there's ridiculous numbers in war, the number of death and destruction between World War I, World War II, and as the Americans started getting into the camps in Germany and discovering some of the atrocities that was happening. That's happening right now. The same patterns of war, human sickness, it is happening right now, today. So the way we're going to change this world, is by doing, by being. And hey, some of my favorite, there's my favorite antagonist, the one who's so prideful and arrogant against me. Paul, you're welcome to join. I won't be as disrespectful to you as you were to me. I can assure you of that. Actually, Sadhguru's out there doing some amazing things. I actually wondered this morning, how could I get his attention? Because he could get the attention. He could get in front of the UN, the American government. He and others like him. There's a transformation that is happening in this world at this time. And because of all the changes, because of the patterns of history and the changes, some people are going out of their mind with anger and hate and competition and fear and greed. And some people are literally out of their mind. They're insane. And others, like me, brothers and sisters, join me. Escape the chaos of the world by aligning yourself with the way of love. Give your mind over to the divine, to the will of God. Allow your mind to be clear of judgment, of hate, of shame, of regret. Allow your mind to become clear and give yourself permission. God, my will is to serve you. My will is to be aligned with love and with truth. Holy cows. Hey, welcome to you, Hank. And Paul, man, that's totally you. How you doing, Hank? Let me say
I'm
to you.
I'm doing great. I did a troll gauntlet yesterday. I packed up Illumitami twice, Officer Snaps twice, and King Stephen once. Those other two, thanks to an assist by Goblin King, because he was hosting. But yeah, Paul, compared to those guys, he's I wouldn't even put him in the troll category relative to those guys if I'm grading on a curve.
If on a curve. All right.
Yes, if I grade on a curve, I wouldn't put him in the same category as those guys right now. I would have, but he was still restreaming you and claiming you as content. But but right now he's not doing that. So
Oh, well, Hank, yesterday after my stream, I was in good spirits and kind of like you. I made some rounds. I didn't make
yes,
it over to visit you guys. I heard and saw you guys were rolling
yes,
with Goblin and
yes, yeah. Illumit Tommy did you dirty yesterday.
yeah,
So he claimed he was going to help you get resolution of Margot, but what he was really doing was trying to drive views to his stream. That's all he was doing. He didn't give a crap about resolution.
it was
He just
obvious.
been the normal, no, the brat he's always been.
Yep.
But luckily for him, I think his bratty behavior is funny. but
It
still
is.
didn't help you at all.
No, thank you. And that's what I saw too. His selfish nature took over again. He clearly didn't care to follow through with what he said. He offered me a fair chance to try and mediate, to try and find resolve. But even when we started, he was saying he didn't expect anything. So he was there for himself. And so after that, I tried to visit old Polly Boy, you know. Um, he looked a little frustrated dealing with that Steven character. And, I thought I could bring a different energy. Dude, he put me as the same as Steven. He put me as the same as Snafu. And I'm like, wow, dude. Although I've compared Paul to Snafu and Steven as well, and Tommy. They are all an opposition to me. And I find it hilarious.
I'm interested in learning how Jack is similar to Illumitami Officer Snaps. Maybe I am too. I don't see how, but I would like to hear an explanation at least. I would entertain one. But Illumitami is just the biggest mod spook there ever was. He claims to be the first panel host. He is a total mod spook. When I went there, he backstaged me 5 times in 10 minutes. That's absurd.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Queen of Swords, sorry, Jack, but you should have known how that was going to go. Just saying. I Here's what I've been practicing, honestly. I saw yesterday as an opportunity and a test because I kept getting these options. What do I do? Do I comply and play along? Or do I, maintain my self respect, my control? What do I do? I took a chance and I play along. And I've been learning how to do this in life, honestly, dealing with authority, unruly bosses, even parents that weren't really fair. You play along, you cooperate, but you stay true. You stay true to you and what is true for you. So I tried to give Tommy and Margot another chance yesterday. They're stuck in their pride, in their selfishness, in their arrogance. But dude, at the end of the stream, I didn't pull it up, but at the very end, when Tommy's yelling and screaming at me, his veins are all bulging. He looks like there's a demon coming out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I've looked like that too in the past.
Yeah, me too. But I don't think it's not necessarily a bad thing, but he's also claiming to be the one true way, the one true Christian way. I'm not saying he's a fake Christian. I don't make that claim. I don't know how to test that. But if I just look at the facts, I don't see a good reason to follow him. He even holds a LARP church. I'd rather go to a non-LARP church personally. Then he tells us we're going to hell as if he knows.
Hank, that actually is a wonderful segue. Not to characterize Tommy, but I will say that he and Snafu and many others are not representing Christians very well. I won't say fake Christian. Well, I have. I'll stand on it. It's a fake Christian. But it's a perfect kind of segue into I'm going to play just a few minutes of this man, if you don't mind, Hank. Um, Let me share this too. This is Andy Stanley, and I've talked about him before. He's a great communicator. And he's just introducing what he's presenting is an opportunity to make history. And Here's where he's introducing.
And followers, and specifically followers of our King, followers of Jesus. We want to be Jesus followers. We're committed to being Jesus followers, people who actually practice what Jesus preached, because Jesus taught us to practice what he preached. You're surrounded by adults and students and children who are choosing to participate in what Jesus called the kingdom of God. It's a kingdom without borders. It's a kingdom without a common language. It's a kingdom without a common culture. It's a kingdom of the heart. It's a kingdom of conscience. And it's the kingdom introduced by our King and our Savior, Jesus, who came to earth. And when I grew up in church, I didn't hear much about this. And it wasn't until I began reading on my own the New Testament to understand this is the theme throughout, that Jesus says, I have come to institute a kingdom on earth, and anyone who follows me is part of that kingdom. And you get to participate, and everyone is invited to participate in the kingdom of God, initiated and inaugurated by Jesus, our King, God's final King, who introduced not simply a way of believing. I grew up on a way of believing. It's more than that. It's a way of believing that's to impact every single facet, every single arena of my life and your life if you choose to participate in Christ's kingdom.
That message right there, to just kind of reinforce it, that's where I'm at. And I think it's been missed by many Christians. If you're going to believe in Jesus, if you want to be a part of that kingdom, then embrace that way. Stand out from the others. Be different. Self-control. Resist your temptations to engage with gossip, to engage with attacks. Certainly be honest. Be righteous, be kind, be grateful. This is the way we are here to be. Unless you got anything, Hank, I'm going to jump back.
Keep going.
A way to live. It's a way of life that Jesus actually commanded his first century followers to export to the entire world. If you grew up in church, you've heard this 1,000 times, but this just doesn't get enough airplay. His Great Commission, when he got his folks together at the end of his ministry and said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go into all the world, the whole world, because everyone's invited. And I want you to, ready for this? I want you to teach them to believe. No, that's the beginning. I want you to teach people to obey, to do, to participate, to practice, to activate. I want you to teach people in every nation all over the world to obey everything I have commanded you. So we're a network of churches who are not just about sermons and songs. I like sermons and songs. I spend a lot of time creating sermons, but sermons aren't what we're about, and songs aren't what we're about. We're about living out and expanding and exporting the kingdom of God, because everybody needs a Savior. Everybody needs forgiveness. Everybody needs to be loved, and everybody needs to know there is hope in spite of what they experience in the world. And that was the message of Jesus, and that was the message that ultimately revolutionized the world. And it's why 2,000 years later, we're still talking about him. It wasn't because a lot of people just believed things. It's because they lived it out, because Jesus commanded them to teach people to do what I taught you to do. We reject, as a network of churches, we reject a posture of fear. We're not afraid that the world's coming to an end and the sky is falling. We are not victims. We're not at war with culture. In fact, we're not at war with anybody. On the contrary, we are living, breathing, active ambassadors of our King, exporting the teaching of Jesus as we live it out in our own lives and invite other people to participate in it with us. And you hear me say this all the time, our goal, our endeavor is to embrace and to emulate the tone and the posture and the approach of our King. This is why I tell you all the time, follow Jesus through the Gospels. Follow Jesus through the Gospels. He came to emulate and to export and to illustrate what God is like in real life in his interaction with other people. And we want to reflect that as a group of people to the best of our ability. Jesus left, you know this, he left his mark on the world.
the commandment from Jesus was love. There shouldn't be a Christian who argues against that. And Tribe and Paul and you other Unslavia folks, your false narrative of what the message is keeping you confused. Okay, it's not. Well, here, and there are many Christians who are confused, who do submit, comply, obey. That is not the way of Jesus. The way of Jesus is submit to God, comply with God's will, obey God's will. God's will is love. As Jesus walked, it was the example for us to know a relationship with God. God loves.
Let's do a quick Bible study. I have Mark 12:17. I'll read from the King James Version. And Jesus answered and said to them, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And they marveled at him. So,
right. So even there, it doesn't define what is Caesar's. What is Caesar's is, well, what is his? And in that example, if Caesar's face is on the coinage, give him the damn coinage. Give it back to him. Christians can share without requiring debts and profits and transactions. That's what the early Christians were doing. This communal communism. See, this is where people are all confused, man. The two masters. You know, Paul, I timed you out because you don't seem to get it. I'm actually promoting the exact same rights and freedoms, the principles of sovereignty, of self-rule. I'm explaining the exact same things, Paulie boy, Jeeps, Tribe. How did they not understand? But admittedly, Hank, help me out here.
yes.
You are like this. You're there with me, but we're not quite connected yet. Well, here, Paul brings an option, so I guess I'm going to roll with that. I was just asking, should I create these boundaries and walk away from these people, keep them out of my life, or should I selfishly try and find peace and resolve?
I'd say just keep attempting peace, but if they don't want it, just let them go for a bit and tell them to come back when they're ready for peace.
That's a good approach. Welcome, Paul.
How are you, Mr. Talcott? You seem unnerved and upset about my presentment of my understanding of this truth or common sense.
That's not quite it. I'm not even perturbed. I'm frustrated by you and the disrespect that you offer to me and so many others. It's inexplainable, to be honest.
Right, but you have this pattern with pretty much everyone in your life where at some point they speak their truth and you see it as disrespect. That's your choice.
We can address that later. We were talking about you, and you're going to opinions of others to deflect from the topic of you. You want to,
again, we have to get better at, like, if we're going to call ourselves life coaches, we got to get better at examining the information and making
Paul,
some level of
no.
Okay, you've already decided what has to happen then.
Well, Paul, you're making rules for me based on what you think. I'm not sitting here as a life coach.
Well, I'm not making rules for you. I didn't tell you what you had to do.
Now, I'm just sitting here as a man, hosting a stream. The topic of today
Didn't you
is
just play a video?
escape to the way of love.
I know
Now,
you cut me
Paul,
off to take control of the narrative, but didn't you just play a video?
Yeah, I did.
At the end of the video, the guy used 3 specific words that led to the understanding indirectly, subconsciously of what that preaching was about? Do you remember the 3 words?
I don't know what's in your mind. Please
Let's
share.
adopt the tone, the posture, and the approach of Jesus, but never the actions.
That's not what he said. Matter of
He's
fact,
not living it, and neither are you.
Hello.
You serve 2 masters.
Hello. You don't know him. You don't know me, Paulie boy. You actually don't know the world as well as you claim. You fooled yourself into thinking you're something better than everybody else, and you're not. So you can either sit here and we can respectfully discuss your opinions.
That's
or
you.
can get the hell out.
That's you. Everyone in your life, you meet resistance.
Have a good day, Paul. I'm done with you. Simple as that. So, and actually, Hank, thank you. Paul, when you learn to behave better, you are welcome to join again. That was a correct approach, Hank.
I agree.
And this is the thing, too. I would love for some of these people to join, but they think their chaos and their arrogance is more fun than hanging out with me. It's like, hey, Paul, I didn't disrespect you like you did. So take a hike, little boy. I'm done with you. At least today. When you show that you can grow up a little bit, we can try again. And Margot, you as well. You can leave. And Mr. E, what would convince you that I don't love being publicly attacked, that I don't love being mocked and ridiculed? What would convince you that you're wrong, Mr. E? I do laugh because I've learned that laughter is a lot more fun than getting angry. It doesn't mean I appreciate this nonsense. And so actually that kind of brings it back into the question I was wondering about myself. Because truly, I have, by the grace of God, I have found my way to embrace God's mission for me. And I believe God's mission for me is the same as the mission for you. It's not the same, it's similar. We have similarities and differences, distinctions, obviously. But I believe we are all here for the same missions. The path of enlightenment. The path of spiritual growth and development. Every single one of us, whether we know that or not. And the question I'm wondering, since I have found my path, and truly, if I'm not online, I'm growing my life. I'm living my life, and I love my life. So I joined the live streams with the intention of sharing some love, sharing some encouragement, maybe some life lessons I've learned that might help others, because I hope to follow the way of Christ, of Jesus. Going in the world, this is part of my world, going into the world to share light and love and wisdom and encouragement and praise. Jeeps, Paul needs correction with his attitude. Gordon Ramsay needs a correction on his attitude as well. but he's not here. Paul has been. When Paul learns how to check his attitude with honesty, he'll become more grateful for the good people around him, and he'll be willing to cut the strings on those who are not healthy for him. But Paul's confused. He wants to cut me away and embrace the confusion that he's used to. So back to the point where I'm at. If I'm here truly on these live streams to share what I've learned, then maybe I should cut the cords. Stop allowing the distractive guests to join, and to really start limiting. Those who want to join to help this grow are welcome. Those who are not, maybe I shouldn't entertain them.
I want to put it another way. Jack already has that premium brand chaos on the panel, so you can get an order or get out. So,
Well, but Hank, even with you, brother, I know the chaos is fun and it's something you're used to, but I encourage everyone to start taking life in its entirety a little more seriously, like the life experience. Because if we take the life experience more seriously, look at the bigger picture of life, then we can realize that every single day is an opportunity for us to try and accomplish new things. And we don't know new if we're repeating the patterns of the past. And the patterns of the past have been very profitable for the governments and corporations. So why people at this level don't want to pay attention to what I'm saying really kind of blows my mind.
yes, I train like heck, so I have the power to deviate from the current patterns. In fact, I'm actually researching some possible helpers for me, so I can get some more leverage.
I'm not following that.
You don't understand me looking for help where I can get more leverage for breaking the patterns? I think that's, you don't comprehend that?
Well, what patterns are you wanting to break? Because I have some gifts regarding that.
So yeah, so one of the patterns I want to break is that a lot of times when I work, I end up having to be like the flex janitor because just that other people just don't take responsibility. But I don't want to go even higher in the responsibility chain, because that would mean I won't even get to go home because I'll be stuck putting out fires. So I need to migrate to an environment where I'm not going to be stuck as the janitor.
So it sounds like you're finding other duties unrelated to your job that are not getting done, and so you're finding yourself doing those? Is that what I understood? Okay.
Yes, because otherwise things will just get worse too quick, and then I just don't know what to do after that. So,
Right.
So
And so
just-
then you saw the other option as rising in position, in authority, so that you could deal with those, but you see the extra burdens that would come with that. Did I understand that right?
Yes, and the extra burdens the extra burdens is like, imagine that you're pretty much in this panelverse, but with Paul, you really can't get rid of him because you need him. That's what going higher would mean on average. So, and I don't want to put up with that. So,
All right. Well, then that leaves you with still a situation. So you either have to find comfort with the situation and the conditions you found, maybe building yourself to realize, all right, someone else's job is not my responsibility. And maybe there are other ways to get the problem corrected other than just yourself or rising up. The other thing I'd like you to consider, though, are you holding yourself back from rising?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm holding myself back from rising. I'm holding myself back from crashing. Because if I go higher without more stability, I will crash, and I don't want to do that without a recovery plan. I'm willing to go up, but if I don't have a way for have a soft landing, if things go wrong, it's not worth it to me.
What would the benefits be of you rising if you go up in position?
So more pay, more authority, but then I had to deal with a whole bunch of stuff. I'll be opening a can of worms. I won't be able to resell all that easily. So
The thing with that, you'd be opening new can of worms, new responsibilities. You'd also have a different perspective and perhaps new opportunities come out. It's hard to know. It is hard to know what is the best choice, what is the right thing to do. But Hank, I'm all about growth and rising. And if we can get comfortable in stepping out into places we're not comfortable, but we have the confidence that regardless of the outcome, I'm going to be okay. When you can have that mindset, you can push your comfort zone a little more and try out different things. And Hank, I'm not trying to suggest to you one way or the other. However, I'm all about exploring, right?
yeah. So I understand that perspective, but I also know if I do crash, people will just want to discard me anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and avoid crashing for now. And if you don't believe me, just listen to your trolls and see what they say about me. So
We're all works in progress. We all have the opportunity to become a lot greater than we used to be. And my friend, the path of learning, like you said, even before we were talking, you're on your own, you're looking out, seeing how do I overcome some of these obstacles in me. You keep looking, and here, swing into the topic of today. Escape to the way of love. The way. It was described. Yeah, if you allow me to run on this a little bit, because it ties into an earlier thing. I was watching an observation, some of the explanations of Buddhism and the Christ. And really, the story of Jesus is a mystery. From the age of 12 to 30, it's like he disappears, but there's record of him even young at the temples, having discussions and having knowledge. So, hey, we got a guest. I'm going to go ahead and bring him back. Welcome, Jeremy.
How you doing, Jack?
Feeling blessed.
Good to see you.
good to see you, Jeremy. First time.
Cool.
Were you hopping in with anything, or?
I'm just here to hang out. I'm building up my
Wonderful.
YouTube channel, so just doing some networking. How you doing?
Wonderful. Well, here I was just talking about a inspiration I found earlier. The idea that there have been throughout history many spiritual beings, many so-called ascended masters, people who became enlightened, some say God-like, Man seeks to align with God. And seriously, that's every one of us, whether we know it or not, that is what we want. We want to realize the spiritual path of life because it brings the heavenly, it brings the heaven into this realm.
Well, it gives us a little slice of peace, right?
Yes.
Because we're born into chaos, and striving for a little bit of peace is, it's a simple ambition, right?
It is. The world defies it, though. The world we were born into, especially in America. And gosh, I was inspired with many ideas and thoughts today. Some of them have to do with the fact of America and what the rest of the world is seeing as a result of our political nonsense. The whole world is waiting to see what's America going to do in November. Let's come back to the spiritual path. There was the first Buddha, right? I mispronounce his name, but there was the first Buddha, and then there was many others who followed the philosophy. There was the yogis in Hinduism. There was all of the.
You're talking Eastern philosophy, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. How does that relate to Western philosophy? And can we bridge the gap?
Well,
it's on the other side of the compass. And the first Buddha is Siddhartha Gautama. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we bring that back to Christianity? So Eastern philosophy is all about like accepting the fact that life is chaotic, it's fucking dark. How do we actually escape from that Eastern philosophy? Jesus, right? Jesus is the one that like brought us out of that dark mindset where like chaos is no longer applicable.
I wouldn't say that.
Actually,
But
we can
use the
grow
Silk
out.
Road.
Well, the Silk Road was Afghanistan. That was a trade route. That wasn't about. Yeah, so the Silk Road is nothing. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Well, if you understood history, you would understand.
No, Silk Road that's trade. You're talking trade, economics.
Yeah, we're talking about philosophy, and that was traded. So
yeah, we're talking
Jesus
about
embraced the chaos. He didn't necessarily negate the chaos.
Oh no, he didn't just only do. He addressed the chaos, and he's told us that Eastern philosophy is not the answer. There is an answer in Eastern philosophy. However, you can escape that desperate mindset by loving people, and that love actually takes us out of that mindset of despair.
Yeah, that's embracing the chaos.
That's what Jesus taught us, was that we despair and then we learn to love, and that's what brings us out of.
Yeah, but the same thing as what the Eastern philosophers say too.
Here, in my own path and my own development, I was unimpressed by the Christians who I'd met and the Catholics. So it wasn't the first place I went to. I did resonate with much of the Buddhic philosophies, the ideas, the concepts, and the way they explain the life of suffering and to detach, the art and the flow of Zen, right? That's what the Buddhic philosophy is. It's pointing to the way, the Tao. It's the way. What I see that Christ did, what I see God did through Jesus, is it brings us to celebrate life, right? To love the chaos, love your enemies, love those who create a challenge in your life, because you're God. You're the God of your life, and you're in the layers of God. But there's one.
I would say that we're, not to cut you off, I apologize. I would say that we're God's children. So we have the potential to become gods. We're not necessarily gods right now.
Yes. I was
But
reluctant to say
God,
it like that.
God
but
is teaching us how to become him, like him.
yes,
That's the whole point.
there
So
you go. Thank
we
you.
escape from the Eastern philosophy where it's despair. Jesus told us that as long as you love your fellow enemies, don't be all primitive and like combative, like the Catholic Church or the Judaism nowadays, where they're all just trying to kill their enemies. We don't play that game. We play the game of love your enemy, reach out for something new. There's a new idea, and that's called Christianity, where you love your enemies, you get along. It's all about love. It's very simple. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people are so, I don't want to say the word narcissistic, but they're so like, they're so
Self-centered.
well, no. It's not. I don't want to say narcissism because it's not that. It's they're desperate to just survive.
It's
So people are
egoic.
at the point where they like need to give up their ideology because they need to survive. So they start doing shit where it's like, okay, believe in Eastern philosophy because you're despair. However, escape that despair after you actually become connected with other people. It's all about relationships. So Eastern philosophy like brings people to a point where they feel like they're not capable of enjoying life. And then, well, no, let me finish. And then you find love. You love somebody, and it's like, okay, Eastern philosophy, fuck that shit, dude. I'm in love. Jesus,
Yeah,
thank you for delivering me from Eastern philosophy. I'm in love with some chick. Thank you.
yeah. See, I disagree with some of what you're saying because what I understand of much of the Eastern philosophy, it is about compassion. Um, the true path of the yogis and such, the Buddhas, it's about compassion. And even the idea of the darkness. I had learned when I started learning that there were a lot of very spiritual, devoted people, people who wanted to align with God. When I learned that it wasn't just Jesus, it wasn't just the one Buddha, there was a whole bunch, man.
Mm.
I heard about the joyful Buddha. And dude, I'd spent so much of my life angry before I found the true meanings and messages from the Bible.
Yeah.
I was I
I
wanted
went
to
through,
become what's
I know I
that?
did the same thing in my teenage years. I went way into like Alan Watts, Eastern philosophy. I thought there were some answers there.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of good shit, but it always came down to the Buddhism, the Hinduism. They believe in a certain like plateau of philosophy where you can't reach a peak. Christianity offers you, it's not so much that you get the peak in this life, but it offers you an option to keep climbing. So the whole plateau
Interesting.
mentality, the Eastern mentality is that there's no, like you get to a point and then you're just supposed to chill. No, you always need to keep climbing towards what I would consider Christ. Christ is the summit.
Wow.
He told us how to like keep having faith, don't give up, have faith,
Jeremy,
right?
uh,
Am I right?
Jeremy, what you're describing, I see as totally opposite. So whatever you learned is different than what I learned because my understanding of the Eastern philosophies is they know there's layers and layers and layers and life
But
is
it plateaus.
consciousness is eternal.
Like you got the layers, but at
Well,
the top,
hold on. Let's bring it back to the Christians. They say, if you believe, well, that's all you got to do.
oh, I don't believe in that. No,
Well,
you got.
that's what many of the Christians are doing.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not
the
one of those. Yeah, no,
plateau.
I'm not one of those guys. I believe you actually have to live what you believe. So there are a lot of Catholics, a lot of like Protestant Christians that think as long as you believe in Christ, you're good. No, you got to live like Christ. You got to want to be like Christ. You got to do what Christ tells you to do. And Christ told us to be vigilant, patient, and love your enemies. So even though a lot of these Catholics, because that's a perfect example, They don't kill their enemies, they kill their enemies. Christ
Mhm.
told us to just chill out, let Christ do what he wants to do. Jesus Christ is in control. Let him do his thing. All we can do is love our fucking neighbors. All we can do is try to get along so that when Christ comes back, shit's in control. I don't know. Like, Jack, you understand, like, you're a Christian, right? You would say that Christ is the guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was a gift from God given to mankind for us to know the truth.
Amen.
He was the messenger, the Messiah, the prophet. He fulfilled many roles. Sorry. My mind.
All right, Jack. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off panel. I got my friend going live. I gotta go there. But I appreciate you letting me up. You guys take it easy. Cheers.
Thanks, Jeremy.
You as well. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it, man. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Kim before the storm. Dude, you've been like, I don't know what side of the fence you're on, but you don't know me. And I've publicly admitted to many, many of my mistakes. I've publicly explained how I repented and changed.
I have an idea. Can before the storm come up and show us how to do it properly with retarded, with special needs to show up and just provide an example how to do it properly.
Yeah, please. You're welcome to join. Why do you say all you have to have is faith if you know? Repentance is necessary for salvation. No disagreement, right? So you're placing disagreements onto me, imagining disagreements and saying I'm wrong when I'm suggesting that the way we all want to live is the way of Jesus. And this is hilarious. How does this happen to me? What is happening? Welcome, Tommy.
You sound like your daddy blaming us for what happens to you, sitting up here talking like you're the Messiah and then asking us to teach you. What are you laughing about, faggot?
Well, first of all, I thought you were going to
Not
make contact with me,
you!
but you came
Get
up
rid
even
of
though you
your
knew I was here.
boy!
So you broke your own word. Let's get.
I got rid of my boy.
Yeah. He broke his own word already. He said he was going no contact with me yesterday. He knew I was been here pretty much since the show started. He came up while I was here, so he broke his own word already.
And he expects me to fix his problem.
Do you believe a word that autist says, or are you going to follow his narrative to use him to run a pick?
I believe much of him. He's
Well, then
pretty
that's why you're as stupid as we've all told you are.
He's more caring and considerate.
You are absolutely insane. And Noel nailed it last night. Noel.
Okay. I'll tell you the same as I told Paul, Tommy. When you want to return and be more respectful, you'll be welcome. But today, goodbye.
I can hear it now. Hank's Jack's handler because Jack won't allow me to stream over him on his show. Okay.
This is fascinating. See, and so I am committed to following the way of Christ, loving my enemies, finding forgiveness day after day after day. And the thing is, God controls what's available to all of us. So, brothers and sisters, your life is different than mine. But when we face people that are unreasonable and just completely out of line, we still get to decide how we treat them, and what we do. Kim, why don't you join the stream and explain yourself, please? Because Tommy was up here playing the victim, it seems. And there's many people who want to blame me for what others are doing. It's fascinating.
He should feel victimized after what I did to him yesterday. I exposed his deception very well.
Oh, dude, I should pull up that stream from yesterday. His face, man. Tommy, you looked like a demon at the very end when you were screaming, your veins and stuff. It looked like there was a demon coming out of you, Tommy.
You are not going to find I look anything like a demon when one fucks you in the ass for eternity. Now, you'll bring Kim up. I'll say, bring me and Kim up and don't kick a damn one of us except that your boy, your little house boy there. He didn't prove anything but how retarded he is once again. And every encounter on my channel is just more proof he's oblivious to reality. But I gave him. He's autistic.
So the last time I was on your panel,
don't talk to me. I'm here on Jack's channel, and I don't care if you're a new moose baby.
5 times in 10 minutes. That's total.
Right. Give us your narrative, Mr. Unslaved. That's not what happened. You ran because you can't handle the truth. Neither can your channel that you producer for now, which doesn't give either of you any more credit.
And you said you were going to go no contact with me. And you
don't tell me what I said. I told you no contact, and you refused that. You want to go out of contact? Jack, they were all there, Jack. I did yell at you, Jack. Are you going to let this nigger overtalk me?
To be honest, I kind of tuned you guys out. Hank, honestly, man, engaging with these guys like that, I know it's fun. It triggers them. Eventually, they'll look at themselves and ask, why am I getting so upset? Why am I getting so irate? But that's the tactic that Paul uses, man. Paul just goes around triggering people and says he's doing good stuff.
You know what? I don't think that tactic is necessarily bad, because if you're fighting evil will get triggered. So that part I'm okay with.
Hank, you have sound perspectives. I mean, I can't argue with logic. The only thing is, I know that peace is the way. People are lashing out like this because they're hurt. And for whatever reason, the words I say, the things I do, I apparently represent things to other people. Like Margot and Chuck, Margot and Chuck, I think it has to do with the association with the 12 steps with alcoholism. Paul, it's the association of his problem with his dad. Tommy has issues with religion, for sure, and presenting as an argumentative and a very bitter self-proclaimed Christian. But Tommy, that's not Christ-like.
And I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Tommy. I'll accept that you're a Christian, but you're not the kind of Christian I would like to follow, so I won't.
Right. And here, I got long-winded, but the way, regarding the Tao and the Buddhic philosophy, and then what Jesus is saying about love celebrating the Father, celebrating life, having faith and praise of life. That really is the way we want to live. So how do you escape the world? How do you escape your old ways? And how do you find the way for you? Because I found my way to the way pretty clumsily. But the more I'm practicing this, live in the present, focus on God, focus on love, focus on creating and being one with the life that you want to live. That philosophy of the mind will transform. What do I do?
If you don't have anything else, we just end the show.
You know,
Does Tommy want to come and whine and cry and be a what's it called?
We'll give him.
Brat? I like hearing Tommy's prattiness. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys are so arrogant. You expect me to sit and look at the screen the whole time. So one day we're all going to be in the front.
Here, Hank, I'm going to try and allow Tom.
Oh, you're going to treat him like a houseboy, but that's what he wants. That's how he is.
Come on.
Okay, you forgot he used to play you too. And now you're going to cuck up to him and use him like a fucking wall. Because that's how oblivious you are. You can't see how the same way you lost your first family, you lost the other 1.5. Now, when you guys sit up here and describe Christianity wrong and say what I bring is wrong and then say that I'm angry for the wrong reasons, you are false witness.
Okay.
When me and Ken before the storm were threatening each other with physical altercation and death, we're both still Christians. And you can't grasp that. You don't understand what's happening because you are lost.
No.
Yes. So, you don't shut down my entire point of just saying no.
Well, here, let's discuss.
You don't shut down by saying here and restancing. You can't figure out if you want your job back, your family back, or if you want to find God. And then you want to say that me yelling at you makes me wrong. You're 2 years of babble bullshit.
Let it go.
Yes.
Let it go.
Fuck you.
No.
I'm not supposed to because I'm a Christian. I'm not supposed to let it go, you faggot. You nigger-loving faggot.
Tom, give it to God.
No, I am God giving it to you.
No.
I'm trying to tell you how you're wrong, and you say I'm wrong, and you're going to go to hell, Jack.
That's the devil.
No, you have a demon in you. You are oblivious. You let Hank the gay witch tell you how I'm wrong. You let yourself put your face over Jesus Christ. You let yourself show yesterday's stream out of context. You're a fucking moron.
Tom, you showed.
Yeah, play it. Play the whole fucking thing.
Tom, you're showing your.
Play the whole fucking thing.
Tom.
Play the whole fucking thing.
No.
You're a fucking moron, Jack. You want me to NPR and tell you how you're a moron?
Why don't you try?
What are you getting at? That's the stream where you ran and came back, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think you ran? Why don't you play the first half when you ran over getting told you're wrong in the Margot thing and your family thing and your job thing? You're wrong, Jack.
Look at that. Look at you, Tom.
Yeah, you're going only by the optics, and you don't want anybody to understand why I'm bitching you out right now and yesterday, because you're a fucking moron. You are a dense, deflective, just asshole.
Look at the demon.
Who cares? I can show you raging. Did you forget that for 2 years you've been raging?
I'm here
But
and
the
now.
difference is I can just drop the NPR, Jack, because it's all for the show except for when it's real.
Tom,
Stop saying my fucking name, faggot. Do you want to get in a bed with me, faggot? Is that why you want me to come crash your couch, faggot?
hey, chill out. I put
No,
Hank in
you
bed.
chill out. We've given you way too much attention. Now me and my enemies are sick of your shit. That
All right.
means you're wrong, Jack.
I'm done keeping Hank out. Welcome back, Hank. Welcome.
Good. Bring the niggers and the old coots in. I'll wreck them too until you kick me.
Tom, you're wrong.
Hey, Hank's giving me more money just to come back one more time.
You need the money. You're gonna be homeless soon. You need the
Very
money.
flow state of you, liar, false witness. I'm out there helping black homeless people, and you're gonna be a ward of the state when your daddy dies.
Tom, you're so...
That's facts, Jack. That's
So you're
the
not
facts,
helping white?
Jack.
So you're not helping white homeless people? You
Yeah, I do
fucking
help.
racist.
See, that's a tactic of your daddy, which makes you all brothers. You're fucking stupid, wizard. You're nothing.
Yes,
But
Illuminati, the
Nazi
smartest man
Sam
in the
Harder.
universe.
Nazi
He's
Sam
gone
Harder.
somehow. The weakest God ever seen.
What are you talking about, Hank? Let's do it.
I'm talking about what you've been saying just
Listen,
today.
Hank, forget all the nigger, forget all the faggot.
Hey.
Let's do what you're talking about. Let's do it.
Tom.
What makes my one true God so weak?
Your behavior?
No. I can tell you the way.
No, you're confused and bitter.
No, you think that this is me all the time and not just me when I deal with you three and your daddy Paul. You deserve me coming at your fucking throats.
No, you're triggered by
Yes,
it.
quit saying no like it matters.
I'm
Say
explaining.
a point.
No.
Say information.
No.
Nope. Illumicopi.
Tom, your triggers are your problem.
Your niggers are your problem.
Tommy, your
Jack,
triggers...
describe how you have
Your-
lost 2 marriages and a baby mama and tell me what my problem is.
Your problem is your attitude. Chill the hell
Tell me
out.
how you tried to get all your mumbo jumbo incorporated with the post office union and you think you're wrongfully fired.
It's a long story and it's irrelevant.
No, I know.
to
It's
your
a long,
inappropriate
stupid
behavior.
fucking story I've had to piece together from your bullshit.
But
Tell
that's
us about the
problem.
ladies you paid for their time, because I've liberated some of those
I don't want to
bitches.
talk about yourself because you sound unemployable.
I'm not here to talk to your little nigger boy.
Then get out. I'm a guest.
No, you get out. It's not your show. You've got to show that
Tommy.
I was one of 5 people that show up to.
Tommy, why are you
Fuck
here?
you.
Why are you here? It's clearly not healthy for you. Holy cows, man.
He's here because yesterday didn't go the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, your audio came through real soft there, but looks like you're all the way up. You're right. He didn't... Here's the thing. It didn't go the way he wanted it to, but he doesn't know what he wants. He's selfish and he's confused and he's irritated and bitter with others because he doesn't know. I got a bunch of...
Tommy should just go to the mountains.
You know what? It might help. You know, Tommy is a good example. We've got a lot of people in this life, and I was like this too. We get so upset about what life is showing it, and then we want to take things out on other people, yelling at them, and you're not right for me. El Perro, that's the best advice. Tommy, go find a park. Go find that lake. Go sit where you and your dog would hang out. Go relax.
Oh my God! Don't you fucking dare!
Don't you fucking dare!
I want to hear how yesterday didn't go how I wanted. Tell me
wanted
what
to
I
be the
want.
hero.
Flow State does this. Paul
Tommy,
does this. You do
Tommy,
this. Tell me how
Tommy.
yesterday failed.
You wanted to be a hero.
No. Tell me
No?
how it didn't go the way I wanted, and tell me
You
what I
weren't a
wanted.
hero. You were not
Wrong.
a hero.
Wrong.
Okay,
I
then what's
attacked you
correct?
twice.
Oh,
Jack
so
didn't play your
now
game
you
for
want
any
to
more than
ask. Now you want
No.
to ask what I wanted.
yeah. Jack didn't play your game for any more than 15 minutes, and he
What
left. That's
game,
what went wrong.
faggot? Hey, old man that is living off of some fat wretched
Wrong.
bitch. What game am I
You know.
playing?
Your
You
game
know,
of
the one
control.
where, yeah, the one
El
where he starts
Perro,
saying
you
something. The
came
one where
from
he,
the unslaved and now you're cucking up for camera time. You're Jack's
No.
biggest
Hey.
enemy. You've just changed your tune.
Holy
Tell me
cow.
what game I'm playing.
the one where you say, "Okay, it's your turn to speak, Jack," and then when he starts talking, you interject these little things.
Oh my
your own
God, this is
projection.
day one shit. You're
Yes,
a fucking
the mod
fool.
spook game, Tommy. You're playing the mod
I'll wait
spook
for you to
game.
one-on-one, Jack.
The mod spook game. That's the game you're playing.
And when
Show
you
me
get
how
that
big. Show
one-on-one,
me what a father figure you are, Jack, and let's one-on-one. I'll go NPR.
and when you get that one-on-one, remember, watch what he does, folks. He'll do the exact same thing. Jack won't be able to say what he wants to say without Tommy interjecting his little projections of his view of things. That's not how you let somebody tell their story, dumbass.
So let's do it. I need a refill anyways.
Well, that's what happened yesterday. But here, tell you what, let me see what happens. So you got my attention, Tom. I don't mean any disrespect or offense to you.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Well, just inadvertently then.
Well, maybe I'm kind of trying to deal with what you're offering.
You don't know what I'm offering because, like El Perro would label me, you put me in the backstage and start speaking for me when you've never truly understood, except for when we used to do offline calls and I called you a friend. That's when you knew what I was about, and now you deny it.
So now what?
What do you mean, now what?
Well, I've tried offering peace, tried making peace with you. You want me to change. And
No.
you've said things that, dude, you've said
Jack,
things.
do you know how this is going perfectly and every day I get what I want? And actually El Perro nailed it whenever he's like so wrong all the time that he looped around that for once accidentally he got it right. Every day I go on, back in the day it was Paul, I'll go on Flow State, I'll come on your show, and I help you guys show what you're about, and all it takes is for the individual viewer to see it with nobody explaining. And some of them will listen to your narrative and follow it. Some of them will just be oblivious, but the real motherfucking thinkers and knowers, they see exactly what this whole panelverse is doing, and that's why my low, slow numbers are the best numbers.
Well,
I wish you luck,
okay.
Jack. I've given you every chance. And like I said, I'm the lowest tier of Wetworks Christ Corp. I can't help you. You're unhelpable. And that's why you're under a strong delusion. God, we are not all children of God, Jack. And when God knows that people aren't a children of God, they are given a strong delusion like this wall you're dropping in on me. I dare you to try and disagree with me, you fat fucking faggot that deserves all the legal troubles you've had. You really want to do this here, boy? You're my bitch as much as you Talcott that
Hey,
you're
Tom.
winning.
Tom,
Go
can you try
fuck
to
yourself.
calm down?
You've had every chance to come to my house and do this, and you spent 5 times saying nothing and saying that wins. What do you want, Snafu?
Yeah, at some point, I mean, it became incumbent upon me to stop engaging you and watching you
That's
escalate
me,
and rage
faggot.
out.
You are my first snafu, and this whole panelverse watched you call me a pedo. Come see me in my house. I got 15 hours left. Queer bait. I'll fucking take your life, Paul.
I'm kind of confused why, like, Jack and Jizzard and all the other supposed Christians like escalating you and watching you spin and cycle and freak out and lose your mind while you pretend it's all a bit. I mean, they're obviously equally, if not more, as sadomasochistic as you. They do this every day. They love watching you scream and yell and freak out and lose your mind. They're obviously toxic, dysfunctional people. I mean, that's one thing that like everyone on this panel has to look at as a reflection. It's extremely toxic, dysfunctional people who have little to no friends or family and little to no career choices at this point. Right. And then you have to decide how much of that's actualization and realization and how much value you actually have in your life and how much you have going for you versus how much you're just delusional and hallucinating a reality that's not existing for the rest of us.
There's one part you missed. You may not have noticed, though. What's happening here is I'm not so much trying to provoke or to instigate the reactions. If you're honest, there's lots of evidence. I've been trying to communicate, not just with Tommy, but with you and many others. So didn't mean to put you on the spot like that, but I appreciate what you did, Paul. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Welcome, Daisy.
Hello, Jack and panel. How are y'all today?
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I just caught just a little bit of that. I think it was Tommy. And wow. Praying for Tommy. I am praying for Tommy. I am also sending out good energy and praying for this panel verse and for the many conflicts that arise, differences of opinions that arise. We all have our own faith walk or lack of faith walk. And I think that the sooner that we just accept each other the way that we are, accept that we're not always going to agree 100% on everything, but that most of us are striving every day to become better versions of ourselves and to be able to help other people where we can and as we can. All of this conflict and hate and anger and misunderstandings, it just keeps looping and looping. And here I am, I'm looping too, but it's simply because I do care. I am energetically attached to many of you people that I've come to know on, even if it's on this platform, I've come to have respect for many of you, to have concerns for many of you, to pray for many of you. And when does it stop? How does it stop? Thank you for allowing me to speak. I will be quiet and listen.
I actually think it stops when we stop making excuses to disagree. We try to find more of the things we can agree with instead of constantly trying to find things we disagree with. Because I agree, we're all on our own paths, life paths, career paths, spiritual paths. We're all on our own paths, but time and technology has brought us together. I've been honest, I'm really wanting to break away from some of this chaos. And I recognize I did it again today. But we're all living this life together. And sincerely, if we can find a way to get along, to just long enough to maybe get a couple of productive things done, hell, we could probably help everyone on their own path. We could help different people on different paths. Oh, that was one of my inspirations earlier today. The past and the way of the American way, it's all about this imperialism, colonialism that's evolved throughout history. It's all about kill and control, right? That's what all these wars are about, killing and controlling. But what if we flip it? What if we live as though we are God's children here to create a better world for God's children? What if instead of kill and control, our focus becomes skill and support? If we empower each other with greater skills, if we support each other with different ideas, different connections.
Jack, I think you did a really good job containing the chaos. You did just enough to show where everyone's perspective, and then you kept control.
Thank you, Hank. When we control is really just order, and we all hope for order. We all hope for some sort of, peace, some sort of sense from the life we're living. What I've done, and this was a note, I want to encourage everyone, in your own ideas, in your own ways, venture out from your old methods, your old paradigms, your old thoughts. Venture out with the wonder of God, meaning, I wonder what God sees. I wonder what God has planned. I wonder what, if I unite with God, I wonder what I might experience or accomplish. Because what I've been learning from the studies of these Eastern philosophies and the different religions, it's all about consciousness. A clear mind creates a heart that's open. And if we align with God, it means we surrender. We surrender our life, our beliefs, our will, our desires. We surrender. And then the way reveals itself. You go through your day with a calm mind, a grateful heart, with the mind of a child, curious and adventurous, wondering what will life bring? And then you just go through the day, and the way reveals itself. I've been living this way in solitude. So, how to apply this when you've got other people, expectations, and commitments from others? I don't know how you'd manage it specifically, but I look forward to trying. Because one day, I'm serious, one day everything's going to change, particularly with me and what's happening with me.
Do you enjoy your solitude?
I love it. I'd love to invite others to join it, wherever they are. The solitude, I used to drive myself nuts with loneliness and heartache because I had to deal with a lot of rejection, a lot of abandonment. People betrayed me who I thought they never would, but it happened. So I drove myself nuts for a while with the loneliness and the poor me stuff. But if I'm honest with myself, I don't like living that way. And I've been rejected before. I've been without money. I've been without relationships. I've been without before. It's all temporary. So then I started really getting into, I was listening and trying to practice different methods and ideas of meditation that I'd learned from others, trying to see if I could experience some of the things these other people said they were experiencing. Once I started finding that bliss and the peace of nothingness, that's what I call aligning myself with God, is escape from the world into the heavenly pleasure of just being. And then the bliss of solitude, dude, it's addictive. especially when you faced a lot of rejection. But what we are, we're all works in progress. I mean, sincerely, Paul, I think you know, I do have a lot of admiration and respect for you. Why the world has become the way it is and why we are the way that we are, I just trust in God.
I trust in God as well, Jack. I also tie up my camel. I believe that all this is just themes of incompletion. You know, folks are making excuses and justifications for where they're incomplete in life rather than focusing on achieving completion or alignment with what makes sense and what the next right thing to do is.
That's an eternal question. I mean, how do you know the right thing changes?
The circumstances reveal that, Jack. Situations and circumstances reveal what the next right thing to do is. And then everyone in the world, seemingly, and of the world, whether they're claiming enlightenment or not, seem to continue to go on doing their own way and their own will, regardless of what the situations and circumstances have revealed.
Again, different.
May I just say, I really appreciate how Paul just said that, because once you start understanding things, you have to change the way you do things a little bit. That makes sense to me.
Part of change. And the idea of wholeness or completeness, that's exactly it. The path of enlightenment is to discard the things that are not light and enlightening, to discard all the darkness. And that's the path I found for myself. I did and did not seek money. I mean, I tried some of the conventional ideas, actually some of the newer ideas I found too for marketing and different products and stuff. But the ways of the world, I understand them, but my path, this path I sought to become greater in, was my wisdom. And, you know, I guess my relationship with God, because honestly, I want to end wars. You better believe that's going to take the grace of God. So,
right, but one would then perceive, based on the story that's genuflected upon with the Christed being, that if you wanted to travel the world and promote peace and end wars, and you had a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house that, you know, is like an albatross to you around your neck, you would, well, it is, because it's
according to you.
No, according to what you've told me in the audience in the past, Jack.
Okay,
Let's just
well, Paul,
be honest with ourselves and each other about the reality of like I said, your situations and circumstances reveal the next right thing to do based on what your presupposition is of your purpose and meaning and value.
Paul, you keep looping back to the past and
I'm using logic, and that's where I'm the biggest fool. I'm attempting to be reasonable and logical with irrational, unreasonable people who've shown that over and over again.
Your lack of logic is clear when you're not even willing to entertain a different narrative, right? My life, and you want to convince me and the listeners that you know me better.
No, I'm saying if I put myself in your position, which I have, I've been in your position and worse.
You have not. You've never been in my position, Paul.
There you go. Never. There's the arrogance that I couldn't be in the same position as you and never understand you or know your pain or loss. It's ridiculous.
You've been in similar situations, but you've never been in my.
The word is relationship. No one can ever be in the exact same position as someone else, but we can relate over a common sense, a logic, an ethic, a morale, and the cause and effect of situations if we're rational and sensible.
Hello. I'm not going to keep repeating myself, trying to get you to interrupt yourself. You either back down.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Perro just said that when someone else is talking, the other
or leave. Paul, I don't need some punk ass YouTuber like you to sit here and lecture me on my life. If you shut your trap and you actually listened to what I've said, you'd have a totally different appreciation for me. But since Paul and many of his viewers have wanted to loop on this false
Jack,
witness,
may I please
Daisy,
interject just
I know
quickly?
you want to defend Paul.
I kind of do,
I
because
know.
Paul defeated heroin addiction.
So congratulations.
Paul managed to keep himself
Congratulations,
alive.
Daisy. What does that have any relevance to today?
It's because it's based on what he said, that he can relate to some of your situation. Were you not in an alcohol addiction situation at one point and you overcame it? That's something you and Paul have in common.
Right.
You both had a
It's
substance
not Daisy.
addiction.
Hello, Daisy. If you listen to me, I told Paul.
See, that right
There are
there's the problem.
similarities,
That's the problem.
Daisy.
We have to listen to each other. It
Mike,
you
please.
cannot be the only authority.
Daisy.
You can't.
Daisy.
Only God has the authority.
Daisy. If you can't interrupt yourself, I'm going to put you out of here just like Paul. Because, Daisy, what you're wanting to say, no offense, this is the egoic pattern. You're bringing up these disagreements as though they have some relevance. Daisy, the similarities in Paul's past to mine.
Jack, sir, I apologize, but you cannot bring about.
Daisy, again, what you just said is we need to do better jobs of listening. I don't need you to interrupt me, Daisy, for me to listen to you. Can you please listen to what I'm saying, which is related to you? I'll take that as a yes. So, Daisy, you wanted to make sure that you defended Paul, to make sure his respect was known. He's accomplished this and he overcame that. In my explanation, Daisy, on my live stream where I've got a punk ass kid wanting to bully me around publicly, his similarities don't give him any jurisdiction. He has no authority over me. He's been falsely representing me for a long time, Daisy. So how do I convince Paul to listen to me? Or Daisy, how do I get you to understand me?
All right, it's my turn now. So,
Please.
all right. So I knew you were interested in that boat trip. To be honest, you weren't interested in that boat trip with Benton and Tommy while they were still on good terms, and that involved you just leaving the house for an extended period of time.
I'm not sure where that was related to.
January. So if that boat trip did happen over the summer, and Ben and Tom was in good terms, you were interested at the time. You thought it was going to happen, and that would have involved you leaving your, fortress for extended period of time.
Oh, well, see, that's where all this started. Paul wanted to paint this 5-bedroom, 4-bath house as some sort of fault of mine. It's an albatross holding me back from doing what I say I'm doing. Nope. The house exists. It's a part of my story. I've explained myself repeatedly, and your narrative is wrong, Paul. So what do I do with people that don't care that they're wrong? Daisy, you wanted to speak for Paul, but he's the one who's wrong in this conversation. Daisy? I guess you're unable to cooperate. Maybe she stepped away.
I'm honestly trying to think of how to reply to that.
You could answer the question. What do you do with people who won't accept that they are wrong about what they say?
That is a matter of perspective and perception. Tommy, in his mind, for example, Tommy is right in his mind.
Right. So is
Paul
Paul.
is right
Paul
in
thinks
his mind.
right. Okay, so Daisy,
The point I'm trying to get to is we cannot all agree 100% on everything. We just can't. It's not humanly possible.
Daisy, you are repeating that for some reason.
It's the
Okay?
truth. I'm saying what is true.
Daisy,
human
it's true
beings,
for you, Daisy. Just because it might be true that there are occasions where you can't agree, you're bringing that up, and it's a deflection from the conversation that is happening here. If you want to first argue or discern, is Paul right about saying my home is an albatross that's holding me back, rather than what I've explained repeatedly? Daisy, do you want to make the case that Paul is right for disrespecting me here again today?
I honestly don't see how he disrespected you when he was speaking from his vantage point on this conversation. I'm not saying that he has never. Obviously, we have all unfortunately disrespected each other.
Okay, but Daisy, again, you're deflecting and you're not really being honest or cooperative. Maybe I shouldn't put you on the spot, but you sure like to invite your comments against me quite often. And I know
I find that interesting. I find that very interesting, Jack, because when
you go both ways.
Please let me explain. Please let me explain. You seem to think that just because I am sometimes in the chat on Paul's live streams, that I somehow am now your enemy. And that is just not the case.
Daisy, right. So
that is just not the case.
Daisy, don't create a false narrative against me and then say that's not right, because what you described, Daisy, you're right. I'm not doing what you described. What I am saying is that you have clearly, you're one of Paulie's yes men. It's like you can't see him do anything wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to interject myself into you and Paul's drama. I'm just a stupid bitch.
Stop. There's no one stupid. It's just...
Well, she should learn. Again, we find her again interjecting herself into somebody else's drama that you actually have nothing to do with, Daisy. Why?
Actually, the comment was made and inferred the other day that simply because I am sometimes in Paul's chat, that Jack seems to think that I am now
Daisy, it's not limited to just that. It's the way I've experienced you. It's the comments I've seen from you in my stream and elsewhere. So don't write it off as though I'm wrong, and let's focus on what we can do from here. Because El Perro was trying to point out to you your behavior. I'm not going to say you were inappropriate for trying to bring peace, and that's what you were doing, trying to bring a peaceful perspective. But if we can't agree when someone is being out of line, you're not being honest. especially after the things that I speak about on a regular basis about turning to God, right? Inviting the way of Christ Jesus to walk with us. Do you really think I deserve some punk like Paul who has never offered me anything helpful? My life hasn't really improved since knowing Paul.
Then if you feel that way, why do you continue conversations with him?
Well, I'll apply the same thing with you then, Daisy. Because if you noticed, Paul was in the back. He was no longer part of this. So,
If he upsets you and you don't want to hear what certain people have to say,
yeah, I guess I did the wrong one. Daisy, Paul doesn't accept me. And he hasn't encouraged people to check me out. As a matter of fact, he's wanted to make sure people look down on me, just like he was doing here again today. Do you not see that, Daisy?
I don't think that's what he wants to do, Jack. I
What is
don't.
he? Right, but what is he doing?
I
What
think
are the
he would
facts,
like.
Daisy? What do the facts show?
I think that he would like for you to understand reality a little bit.
Daisy, go back to what do the facts show? He wants me to believe reality like him. You want me to believe reality like him. That way we can all be angry
But Jack,
and we
that's
can all
the
be
same,
blaming.
sir.
What?
That is the same thing that you want all of us to do, though.
Untrue,
You
Daisy. Daisy, that's untrue. I've repeatedly said the way is the way of Jesus.
and I agree that it would be
Daisy,
wonderful if peace
Daisy,
could be in this world.
Daisy. Your
But you
mind is
honestly,
Daisy,
Jack, you have yet
Daisy,
to, when people have
Daisy.
asked you,
Hello,
Jack, you're
Daisy.
not allowing me to converse with
Daisy,
you.
right. All you're doing is talking at me.
And over him.
You who does not understand.
Yeah, because
Daisy,
El Perro, you've never interrupted anyone on here, have
Daisy,
you, sir? Ever?
Daisy. You know what? This is nuts.
So,
You know what?
She's very masculine.
She's part of the flying monkeys that, she's there to defend Paul no matter what.
yeah. So I have to come clean. My life did improve a little bit after being Paul. So Paul introduced me to you. Also, my time in Slavia made me better able to predict what the trolls were going to use, since most of them in the Panaverse were developed in Slavia anyways. So my life did improve moderately after being Paul.
Yeah, and I'm curious if anyone considered my life from what you've seen. Since I met Paul, and I guess I'm to blame because I put myself on YouTube, but I've been publicly mocked. There's been horrible public accusations made against me. My efforts to clear my name have so far resulted in what? Hey, Rusty, this is actually where I was. Jack, stop letting people into your life that don't want to build with you. You keep letting time waster Tommy and Steven around you. You keep getting the same results and ask why. And you're absolutely right. And this was where I was considering, and I did a poor job of it again today. I guess I allowed myself to be selfish by having trust in these agents of chaos that they might actually care to put out some value for people. Paul doesn't care. Daisy doesn't care. And and Tommy.
I don't think you waste your time. You kept control over your show, and you did give them another offer and see if they cared today or not. And once you figured out they didn't, you just said bye-bye, come back later. So I don't think you wasted your time at all.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I do still want to improve. I don't want this nonsense. I mean, attacking me, claiming I don't know what I'm talking about because I live in a house. I mean, that's what Paul was doing, wanting to paint me as a man of unsound mind, that I don't know what I'm talking about because I have a nicer house than him.
Yeah, let's be honest, Jack. Paul doesn't have many nice words to say for anyone.
That's the key. You're right.
So I wouldn't be surprised, because I don't think there's a given living situation he would approve of other than his own at the current time.
Well, this is the self-centered, the selfish views of so many people. They're not happy. They're not happy for anyone else's success. They're not happy for their own success. They're just bitter. And our world deserves less bitter people. I mean, I'm not jealous, but I am trying to find a way. How do I grow in the reach? Because I'd love to share more positivity into this world, more encouragement, more love, more appreciation. Your next day is your best day with Paul. It's been hit and miss forever. When he needs you, you will know. When he doesn't, you will know. You're the dummies for waiting. I'm not waiting for Paul. I mean, I keep circling back and trying to extend a hand and, say, hey, let's be peaceful together. We've both got wisdom. We've both got talent. If we work together, holy shit, we might be able to do some great things together. But eventually, people will want to do great things with me. Again. And that day is coming soon.
I think that's a good spot to end it. I'm going to take my leave. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Wizard.
Hank, I was feeling kind of the same thing. Blessings to you, and thank you, Hank. Appreciate you, brother.
And I'll do the same, Jack. You know me. Be blessed. Have a good day.
Amen, my brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't want to be disrespectful. You have waited. Daisy, are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm trying to sort my thoughts out. One thing that I would like to say publicly that I've tried to avoid: El Perro is the biggest hypocrite that I've ever seen in my life. The things that come out of his mouth on the one hand, and then the curse things that come out of his mouth after that. Like, it just, I don't understand him. I don't understand how he thinks he is so above other people, and that he can just call people names. He can use the C word and the B word, and then he turns around and tells people he loves them. Like, he's confused. He is so confused. I don't know how to reconcile with him. He said that I am masculine. I am not masculine. There is nothing about me that is masculine. I am a very feminine woman, and I take pride in that. I honestly do. I've always been feminine. If I'm powerful, he is maybe wanting to use the word masculine because he does know that I do have my own power. And he hates me for that. And I'll say this to him if he's still listening: whatever it is that he sees in me that triggers him and upsets him so much is probably what he really hates about himself. And I appreciate you letting me try to come on here, try to make some sense of this. I know that I can't. I've been around almost 2 years now. I
You want
appreciate
to try,
that you want, I appreciate
Daisy?
the fact that you
Daisy,
want to.
sorry to interrupt. I've been listening to you talk. Do you want to try and understand? You just said you can't understand. Do you want to understand?
I don't care to try to understand El Perro any further. No, sir, I do not. As far as the rest of the things that go on here, I would like to understand. I would like to grow, but there
Well,
is no
growing in the
communicating with them.
present, Daisy, there's an I interrupted you because there's an opportunity right here and now. If you can let go of all the important opinions you want to get out, we have an opportunity to talk. I mean, you stuck around. I assumed there was a reason, but apparently you just wanted to stick around to talk about El Perro publicly now that he's not here.
No, I have other things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know
Okay,
if you're
well,
ready. I don't know if you're ready to hear them, Jack.
how about this? Are you ready to ask anything? Is there anything you want to better understand about me or what you've heard me say or even what you've seen me do? Because I don't feel the need or desire to continue listening to you tell me about me or others.
Well, I wish you have a rest of a good day, Jack. I'm gonna go. Thank
So no
you.
questions?
I
After
don't
all the things you've
I
said,
don't
you've got no questions for me
I
now that you've
do.
gotten
I
the
do
chance?
have questions, Jack. I do have questions, but you don't want to hear them. You don't want to hear the questions.
Daisy,
I have
you're making
tried
it
several times.
impossible. Daisy, you're making it impossible for me to hear the questions as you blame me
I'm
for
not
not
blaming
wanting to
you.
hear the questions. Daisy,
I'm trying to ask the questions, but I
but you're
don't think
not.
you're ready to hear
Please
them.
ask. Please ask. It's
Okay.
50-50, right?
There are a couple of things. It has been presented to you before because you do have a desire to talk to the UN and bring about world peace, which I think that is commendable. It would be wonderful if we could have world peace. But people have asked you so many times, what are your plans? How are you going to do it? You keep asking
Daisy,
people to join
Daisy,
you.
Daisy,
You keep
Daisy, Daisy, I'm interrupting you, okay? Please allow the interruption. I've answered that question many times. So you're already starting with this foundation that I failed to explain myself and you don't understand. Well, is that relevant? If I explain myself to you, are you going to do anything to help?
The thing is, though, you're always
Please answer
asking
my
people.
question. Please answer my question.
I'm trying to. You are always asking for people to join you and to help you do these things, but you never say how. You never tell us your
Daisy,
plan.
that's not true. I have. So you're so confused and so confident. Are you, see, Daisy, this is what I mean. The ego, you and Paul, and many of you who are just trapped in these opinions, you're denying and ignoring explanations. So, Daisy, I don't tell you what, can we go to a different topic? You don't understand what I would say if I get in front of the UN or the Congress. Okay, you don't understand what I would say or do. How about the other stuff I talk about? Any questions, any other confusion we can resolve?
I honestly don't know what to say, Jack. I just,
Well,
I
Daisy,
don't.
here, I understand and I appreciate it. I don't mean for you to be put on the spot and uncomfortable, but what we're doing here, we're calling out your confusion regarding me. Now you've been sharing a lot of opinions about me and the things you hear from me. But Daisy, I encourage you, stop thinking you know. Because the things I'm saying, it's not as you've described. What I'm offering is the way that Jesus was teaching us is to be humble, to be kind, to be honest with one another. Do you disagree with that?
No, I agree that that is what he taught.
Okay, so you don't hear me saying those things, that we can be kind and honest and more authentic with each other? You don't remember me ever saying stuff like that?
You've said it, but
Uh-huh.
it has to become a life application. We can't just
Yeah,
talk about
Daisy,
what the scriptures say. We have
Daisy,
to
right,
apply.
Daisy, yes. And if we apply what the scriptures say, why would we not want peace on earth? And let's keep in mind, you wanted to take the question. Your problem with me apparently is I failed to explain what I'll do in front of Congress or the UN. But let's start here. I'm doing my best to be kind, patient, forgiving, generous, encouraging. I'm sorry I'm not good enough at that for you, Daisy, for you to see what I'm doing. But maybe it's because you're confused. Maybe you think aggression and toughness and being a bully. Because just like you were pointing out El Perro and his hypocrisy, his contradiction, I don't disagree. Keith, your anger shows a contradiction from the words that you say. It's exactly the same as Mr. Paul, Daisy. I mean, you want to criticize me, but Paul has literally said he's walking as the Christed one. He's literally said that. And you guys want to oppose me. You and Chuck and holy cows, man.
Jack, it's not that I'm trying to oppose you.
Look at your
I'm trying.
behavior. Look
I
at what
haven't.
you're doing. This is the point, Daisy, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is the psychology. People are walking contradictions. They say one thing and they do another. I know Paul cares about me, but his behavior has shown his hate, his envy, his jealousy. When people aren't honest, they are literal walking contradictions. So, Daisy, eventually the confusion will fall away from people who have been paying attention. And I know there's people paying attention to what is real. And what you're seeing every day, Daisy, is a good man, a man who's devoted himself to God, to love, to trying to bring peace to the world in every way. Online in my relationships, offline in my relationships. I'm trying to help people who I've never met. Eventually, you guys will see, Daisy. And I'm grateful you're here. But so far, I know it could have been a lot more fun.
I will have to think everything over and I'll have to try again, Jack, because I feel like you think I'm trying to put you down. I'm not. I'm not trying to put you down. There have been times I've even defended you.
I know, but
And I've even
more
said you
often,
have to I've even said, consider what he's been through. Consider that
I know.
the job that you had for all those many years, and you were mistreated on your job that you had dedicated yourself to. I know that that's part of your story, and the things that have happened to you. I've understood. I've had compassion for what you've been through. Of course I have. I can see all those things. I
Well,
can see that I
you
can see that
can, and yet,
you've risen above. You've risen above. I'm going on the fact of what you say, that you no longer drink alcohol, and that's wonderful that you overcame that. That is a good thing. Um, I I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I wish you
all right.
well.
Thank you.
I don't consider you an enemy, and I wish you well, and I hope that, at the end of the day, all that we can really control is ourselves. And that's something I'm trying to work on too. I have a lot of
Help you.
growth and
I
learning
can
left
help
to
you.
do.
Well, I can help if you'd like. But Daisy,
Well,
thank you very much for joining. See, this is another thing, Daisy. Yes, I've said this as well. I've been blessed to learn a lot of different things. People haven't really been exploring my wisdom. They've been testing my patience, wanting to offend my character. So, Daisy, I'm grateful for you. Sincerely, I appreciate the true spirit of love and kindness that is with you. There is a true spirit of care. But unfortunately, our spirit of care, our spirit of love, it gets tarnished and diminished with our opinions, with our judgment. When we start looking at others as not good enough, when we start looking at others as a failure, who the hell are you to judge? Our judgment keeps us in hell. People, especially, I'm going to swing this back around to the Christians, okay? Because there's been a lot of testing and accusations, assumptions about me and my faith. My religion is love. Okay, I'm not confined to a tradition of one religion. My religion is love. And it's through the love of wisdom, the love of the truth, that I've been able to find a lot of the answers for myself. So I encourage you, don't worship me. Don't friggin' argue against me, though, either. I'm just simply suggesting to you that your personal relationship with God, it matters. It's not something you want to put off or throw to the back of your mind. It's something you'd like to develop and to know more of. And here's the wonderful thing I've learned. God is. Simple as that. Whether you accept it or not, God is in your life. And when you can accept that not only is God in your life, but God has perfect control over everything in your life, well, guess what that does? That makes you free, free to be you. And brothers and sisters, I keep praying to God often. I encourage you, do the same throughout the day. Throughout the day, particularly when faced with ideas or opportunities or tasks or problems, pause. Allow yourself to remember to pause. Give yourself permission to breathe. Breathe in the peace. Breathe out the appreciation. Breathe in the life. Breathe out a smile. And with a smile on your face, you go to God. God, what do you want? What is your will for me? What will the world and what will you want for me to accomplish? I keep doing that. I keep asking those questions. The morning reminder I get this morning and the last couple of days, it was a little less clear, but it was pointing in the same directions. Take the stuff from the world and bring it into the spiritual perspective. Bring it from the separated into the unity. Bring it from the broken into the whole. That's the message I keep getting for myself. And that's what I keep trying to do with this world, with the life I'm living. I'm trying to bring all of the information and the data, the people and the things I learn on the news, in my online experience, and wherever. Try to bring all of that information in with the ideas of God. Why is God allowing me to learn this? What does God want me to do with this? Is this information for me, or am I gathering it for someone else? Brothers and sisters, if you settle into living the life you've been given, number one, if you accept things for how they are, it's temporary. Everything is a transition. Everything is a choice. Everything is a step. But if you want to understand something, if you want to know something, your triggers, you want to understand someone else, allow yourself to accept. Accept yourself, accept the world for the things you know, the things you don't know. Start with acceptance. And then as you accept your triggers, your feelings, your thoughts, as you accept those as just a temporary part of your experience, you can ask yourself, what do I do now? What do I do with this that has become a part of my experience? Our fears and our regrets, our judgment and our hate, it keeps us from feeling the goodness, the appreciation, the opportunities that life can bring forth. And serious, behind every battle, every hour we engage in a battle, it's an hour we're denying ourselves from experiencing something different. So we went a couple of hours again today. Brothers and sisters, I truly appreciate all who are joining in. I hope in the future to be less selfish about me. Maybe it is. It's time to just completely cast some of these characters aside and let the cards go where they will. But aside from that, for those who are interested in joining this Talcottian adventure, please, you know, what I'm asking for, when I'm asking for help, anyone who wants to join the team, what the goal is to create conversations, to grow in a network, grow in a connection. If you've got connections and relationships, you've got ideas, people that might resonate with some of the things I say regarding spirituality, regarding self-development, health, most importantly, regarding economics and politics. If you know anyone else who may have some desire or want to play around with the idea of trying to interrupt the sick political and economic games that have been happening in the US, anyone who wants to try and interrupt that before November, please reach out to me. There's links in the description. I'm real easily reached. There's other organizations that could use some support. Peace is my purpose. The end of wars, the end of conflicts, the end of disagreements, the end of oppression, the end of lies, the end of secrets. Set the truth free. Become authentic for you. Humble yourself for the truth, with the truth of God, and walk with God. Till next time, brothers and sisters, sincerely, thank you again. Choose love. Peace for everyone. Live without fear. God bless us all.